when I told you at the start, I blew the whistle in a job. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, and I don't know if you know that. Uh, the manager of my company said, I'm going to be hiring new security to work with you guys on the tram. But I'll tell you now, I'm not going to hire blacks or Indians, right? And that's where I stood up and blew the whistle
Yeah.
because I reported it. They did nothing about it. And then I went further and then I brought it to court. I turned down tens of thousands of euro for me to sign a thing and shut up. I said, no, because I don't need your money. I need to sleep at night. I need to know you're not getting away with this. Was going on for 15 years. And
Wow.
the first day I heard about it was the last time. And now it's flooded with Indians and black people, right? But for
Right.
15 years, it was all white. And so
It's
people get it
interesting, man.
confused. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you might think, oh, he's not you, but because of the way I speak about certain things like immigration and black people coming in and saying that we owe them something and stuff. I'm all for these people to come, but properly controlled, not to the detriment of Irish people, never to the detriment of Irish people, and
Right.
not
Right.
neither did I want them to get jobs to the detriment of Irish people. But I knew as a security team, we were out in the public dealing, so we're on the trams and we're dealing with black people as issues, and they're telling us we're racist and you're all fucking white and da da da. And so we knew, like, if we had black people working with us,
It
that's
would
going to help
help.
us in their jobs. Yeah, it's
Correct.
100% going to help. But they weren't hiring them, so I exposed it. Same with Indians, same, and it's all changed now.
Isn't
But
that ironic? I mean, that's incredibly ironic, man.
it
I mean,
is
just I
because
mean to where things are now, and you're getting called fascist, and
yeah, which is why I don't mind because sometimes
yeah,
and
you
it's
can't.
easy to say to someone, "Well, go and check this out," and they
Yeah.
never come back to me.
Yeah, yeah. You
You're a racist. We'll go and look at this, and they never come back. They don't come
Yeah.
back. They prove me wrong, prove me right.
So I guess since I'm the one talking right now, kind of give us the genesis of your show. I love it. I kind of wish I had binged it sooner, but yeah, I really like your format, how your questioning. You have a great psychological mind, by the way. Some of the stuff you spew out, I've never heard, and that's my business.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I just say, speak my mind. I don't really have a problem with consequences. So the show's kind of based on free speech. We started it because I blew the whistle in a job I was in. When you blow the whistle in a job, it's very hard to get hired by somebody else. For all good intentions, they might think, "Oh, fair play to you," but we have Tom over there. He's a bit old school. This guy come in, blow the whistle on Tom. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. They don't really hire whistleblowers. So we start the podcast. What was happening was I was waiting on a court case to come up for the whistle blown. And so in between that is where I started the podcast with a colleague of mine, Brian Warner. We both done the same job in the same company. And so we started doing that. Now he's left. He's gone driving Dublin bus now.
Hmm.
So Artazu jumped on board. So it's me and her. So the whole premise of it is free speech. Just we don't censor ourselves. Do you know what I mean? We don't censor anyone that comes on, and kind of there's a thing with the media. It's same in your country. They choose what to put out there, and there's a lot of people like where I live, like even my aunties and stuff, and they wouldn't know about big news stories that they should know about. And then so the best thing for people like me and even yourselves to do is talk about stuff that's not going into the mainstream media. Bad
Hmm.
stuff like migrants raping people and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It's
So
Yeah.
happening over here too.
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
100%.
a lot of the, and we've discussed this before. People think of censorship. They think of like you say something and then people ban you, and that certainly happens. But what I see is the most insidious is when the media, who's entrusted to be an advocate for the people, just doesn't cover something. Like the power to not shine a light on something is very powerful. And like,
The
and I
girl
don't,
on the bus in Charlotte is a good example.
yeah, if you don't talk about
Mm.
certain things. So I didn't know if that's what you meant, like with, there's people that don't know something happened. Like if you just get your news from quote unquote, legacy sources, and they choose not to cover something, you're not going to know about it, which is what the beauty is of independent journalism and podcasts and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
and it's dangerous too, like to not be aware of the dangers in your society. Like we had a girl on recently, her and her husband were in an apartment in Dublin
Oh
City
yeah.
Centre, and a migrant was trying to kick the door and threatening to rape her and her husband. Um, all that happened. Not that would usually back in the day would make fucking national news in Ireland,
Yeah,
something like that. Not a whisper. Reporters weren't getting in touch. The local councillors, nobody. And so we brought her on. We done it, give her the opportunity to platform it and let people know, because it's important that people in her area know. So the guy who done it was released within hours. So he's
yeah,
back on the street. They're not aware. This guy's out. He's just coming into apartment blocks, kicking in doors indiscriminately. And they should be made aware of stuff like that. So that's why it's
absolutely.
important to
And
do. And journalists don't do that anymore.
No, they don't tell. They tell, and again, someone else said this. This is my quote, but they tell a story, but they don't tell the story necessarily.
Yeah,
You know.
what they want to tell.
yeah,
I
I
do.
actually listened to the one you were just talking about, Matt. That was a recipe for disaster. She had epilepsy, but now one thing that is interesting about that is her neighbor came and helped her. So there is this, right? Is that it was her neighbor? So there
Yeah,
is
well,
this.
two lads, yeah, local lads were walking by, so they came in to help. She knew them, yeah. So neighbors in the sense of in the same area, yeah.
So that is an interesting aspect of it. Is I think that if we're around like-minded people or just in our neighborhood, I think we are starting to, if we get along with our people, we're more willing to help the person next to us, which wasn't necessarily the result with the young lady on the train in North Carolina. Everybody
Yeah.
just stood around and watched. But I think generally, if I saw something happening with one of my neighbors, I'm jumping in.
Mm.
To what degree it's safe. But so yeah, that was a good story. That was a great
Yeah,
episode.
I think that's Irish DNA. I don't know. It's probably the
Yeah.
same in other countries, but Ireland's just such an old country that DNA is it's rocking. It's evolving, but it's also the same. The
You're
fight,
fighters.
the standing up and all that. Yeah, that's true. But in America you have to realize it's what, 250 years old.
Hmm.
So in respect of
Yeah, it's young.
people, like I don't know, it's just that America's up and down with like humanity or civilization, basically.
Hmm.
One day it's the top and then it's the bottom. It's the
Yeah.
pits.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
culture is, and that's something that we've wrestled with that I think a lot about. I mean, a country like Ireland, like you said, one, it's been around a long time and a lot of history and a lot of like um homogenous culture, right? So it's like
Mm.
there's a Irish culture, which is, and we can get into this. 'Cause something I have some questions on is, the open border stuff and just letting all these people in and what
Yeah.
that does to a culture. And in the United States, since I mean, at least in my own personal lifetime, my own history, since I would say mid to late 1980s, mid 1980s, there's just been a crisis of Americans like not understanding what our culture is, or not knowing, or not having like
Yeah.
a rejection, almost like a self-hatred, a rejection of our culture.
Yeah.
But it was never like that in my memory as a child, like in the 70s or even into the 80s. I mean, people had houses had flags, people, Fourth of July parties were rocking, tons of people, and all. The neighborhood I'm in now, it's probably about, I don't know, 1,400 homes. I'm one of maybe four people that have a flag on my house. You know what I mean? It's like completely, and I live right in pretty much right outside the nation's capital. So, culture is really, and in my opinion, everything that we talk about, it's the 100,000 foot level thing
Mm.
that kind of ties all this together, you know?
I think with America, it's slavery fucked everything you want to do in America, right? They showed the slavery card. You know, you're not this because of this. You're not that.
Right.
It's just it always goes back to you can't get away. Like they tried to do it here in Ireland, right? So we have a lot of black people here now, Africans, yeah, and of course, some of them are saying we fucking they built Ireland, they own it. They're only here a few years. They weren't even, you know. But that's happening here now. So it's copy paste. They always do that here, liberals and such. They copy paste America. So that's why Trump getting into power is so important to people like me, miles away. Where you think it means nothing, it does because it sets the standard, you know. And
yeah,
the Biden standard, it's not good, you know. And so we had people coming in, still do, and it's like they're claiming rights to this country, and they say the same thing. But they tried to get us. But they can't because we didn't actually have black slaves in Ireland. As far as I know, we're not. So they can't get us with that card like they can in America, even though it's bullshit and it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
right.
They wouldn't be there. They wouldn't be there but for that, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's like have you ever seen the Commitments? Have you ever seen the Commitments?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm black and I'm proud. Like they're in this movie, The Commitments, Mike, if you haven't seen it.
I've seen it.
Oh yeah, he's basically talking about, and I don't mean any of this in a negative connotation, but he's basically talking about the Irish were the blacks of Europe or something, and then he says, "Say you're black, say you're proud." So it's not like Ireland, even, you know, they were oppressed when they came to the U.S. They were treated.
Yeah, and so what? Like and they're all dead. I don't care about them. You know, they're dead. That doesn't affect me. No offense.
Yeah,
to
there's
anyone
no
who
one
cares
alive.
about
Yeah, there's
history.
no one alive today that was a slave, and there's no one alive today that was a slaveholder. There's still slavery in the world, not in America and not in Ireland. But anyway, I mean, one question with the migrant situation in Ireland, and you know, we're seeing it also in England now as well. What in the hell? Like, in other words, how did all these people start coming over, and why? Are they saying that they're trying to escape something? Is your country trying to like the birth rates are low, so we need to get more people in here? Is it just
DEI?
They're migrating around, right? So they're not even new to the game. A lot of these migrants, right? They're migrating around to the best welfare given to migrants. So sometimes it's England, sometimes it's Ireland, sometimes it's France, and they migrate over and back. So that's why they started coming to Ireland, because Ireland are giving them €238, we'll say around €230 a week. Yeah.
What?
Somewhere to live, food, everything. Yeah. That's how. So they're chasing the welfare, a lot of them, you know. And what they say as well when they come in now, a lot of them, is that they're gay, right? And if they go back to their country, most of them are African, they'll be persecuted. They'll be, you know, slaughtered for being gay. So they're not gay. You know what I mean? They're just making it up because we can't send you back.
They're gaming the system,
100%.
And probably, I would imagine, by the way you described it, that they're like welfare hopping, like they get some benefits in England.
Oh yeah, they can do both. So, like you mentioned, the border in Ireland earlier, right? We have a border between the north of Ireland and the rest of Ireland, and that's it's a non-physical border. You can't see it; it's not there. Yeah, it's on the map. We know where it is. So, because of that, these British migrants, and to be British migrants, you can get from, we'll say Liverpool over to Belfast on the boat. That's within your rights, as a British citizen, British migrant, whatever. You can do that. Now you're in Ireland, like physically in Ireland on the land I'm on now, and you just get a bus down to Dublin, and then you can apply for asylum, and on maybe Wednesday then head back to England, collect your dole, head back here then, and they do that. They do that, you know. Ukrainians here are getting welfare and a place to live, etc. And what they're doing now is renting out the house, but going back to Ukraine and coming back. So they only require them to sign on, which is physically sign your name in a dole office in Ireland every 3 months or something, every 6 months. Now they've caught so many of them doing that, they've made it a weekly thing. So you can't, you know, they're kind of clawing back on stuff. Since Trump got elected, this country's changed on immigration. The government have, because they're trying to align more with him, you know, and his values. And his thing is migrants out, they're destroying their country. And they are starting to send some back and pull them in and drop the money that they're giving them and trying to cut out the reasons for them coming here. But what's here, as far as I'm aware, we've 60,000 migrants, male migrants, that were told they've been processed for visas,
Yeah.
told no, off you head home, and they're still here. You know, they're not collecting the dole. You know, they're not on the system. They're off the grid. 60,000, just men with no fucking, we've no history of them. We don't know what if they got refused. They obviously shouldn't be here, but they're roaming around the country now. You know, sleeping in tents. It's a small enough country for 60,000 elements of whatever they are. You know,
Wow, it's
to
almost like
blend in.
a migrant culture is being built here
Yeah,
around the world.
whatever I mean, all I know is, throughout history, whenever you have a lot of working age males with nothing to do hanging around, doesn't usually not usually a good thing. Like, it doesn't usually end very well. I mean,
no.
one thing is, if these people are coming in and they're shopping for the benefits and stuff, from my perspective, I look at that like that's human nature. Like, I'm not saying, I mean, they're being dishonest and all that, and you could make an argument one way or the other, but is for the people like your friends, family, yourself, isn't the is the anger and the problem with the people who are the leaders more than even the migrants? Not saying it's not with the migrants,
Oh yeah,
but is
yeah,
there a pushback against the government and being like, why are you guys allowing this?
yeah. Generally, there is. Yeah, it's all against the government. The government, like, are fully to blame, and Ireland's smart enough to know that. But at the same
Yeah,
time, the migrants, they're not getting attacked every day. There's no, none of them have been murdered, or nothing really bad has happened to them. So obviously we're not against the migrants as such. Like,
as people,
to
yeah,
me personally, I'd say to them, fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? Just fuck off wherever you come from. Uh, Survive there like we have to here, because you go back 30 years in this country, especially when I was growing up, we were poor, you know,
hmm,
broke. We didn't have jack shit. And as soon as the country got nice, we're fucking flooded with this shite now, you
yeah.
know? And it's not nice anymore. And that's just the way it is. It's not safe. It's definitely a lot less
You
safe.
know, I'm glad you mentioned that because, like, as far as like bucket list countries, for me, Australia is definitely one. I'm Irish. My grandmother's maiden name was Perry, so I imagine that's a relatively,
Perry,
yeah,
spell
P
that.
Perry.
I don't know one Perry in Ireland.
They all left.
So she's
They
a
all left.
liar.
Yeah,
I actually
they're
schooled
probably
me.
Brits. They're probably Brits. Yeah,
They probably rolled
they
out.
fucking,
No,
yeah.
He's a ginger, so
Huh?
they're.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm a
he's a
big ginger.
ginger.
My
yeah. He
kids are
was.
both
Are you
ginger.
ginger? Oh, well,
Oh
then
yeah,
you probably are Irish. Yeah, you
Yeah.
probably traveled out of the country.
But Australia is one of them, and Ireland's definitely one of them. However, like in listening to your show, I'm a little more wary of Ireland lately because it's interesting. You guys, everybody that comes on, it seems like everybody talks about a stabbing here and like being accosted in the streets, and it's not like you guys are advertising these
Yeah.
things. It's so in passing how you're talking about it that makes me feel like it is abundant. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it does sound dangerous. Probably not as dangerous as I'm picturing it by the
No, because you're
passivity
looking
of
at it condensed, you know, you're looking at every, like, you get me? So it's condensed, but it is it is more dangerous to anyone living. Look, even where I'm living in the south of Dublin, right? It's gone dangerous. Like, there's been two migrant attacks on women. Dangerous. One tried to bite your woman's lip off, and that's only
Jesus.
15 minutes from where I go. And that was her going from the Lewis, which is the tram in Dublin, to her house, talking to her boyfriend on the phone. And this scumbag just jumps out, attacks her, holds her down, straight down, bites her lip, tries to rape her. Yeah, being caught, and he's been I think the court case has been had and everything, but that's just one of so many. And the thing is that it might make it into a local newspaper online and be taken down. But the good thing is a lot of them things are saved, internet
Yeah,
screenshot, and even some I have done personally done the videos on have been up 1 minute and gone the next
that's
online. And
amazing.
I was glad I had screenshotted it, and especially when the 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 assailant, if you like, the what you call it, the guy who done it is an immigrant, and they
The
put
per
that up by mistake, and then they
Yeah,
take it out, and it's just great to screenshot it immediately.
I
So
mean, that is definitely, I mean, that is massaging a story, right? When you're like not allowing a proper description. I think
yeah,
the one thing, just to wrap up, like what you're saying with Trump, that is so significant about him and that what can't be ignored is, for 4 years in our country, we had a government that was actively trying, actively took down our border, actively was
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
get people in. They were flying hundreds of international flights into the interior of the country and just letting people out. I mean, that's documented. So you went from that, and people were like, "Oh, there's nothing we can do. I mean, it's just, the world's crazy. People are coming
mm,
here." And the previous administration was like, Congress has to pass a law. And even though we already have enough laws, when Trump came in, he put the kibosh on it. It's like zero people coming in now. And that is what he is showing the rest of the world. And he's showing people in Ireland, and he's showing people in England, and he's showing people in these other Western democracies that this is a choice that is being made by the people who are in
yeah,
leadership positions. It is not like, woe is me, we're just trying to deal with this. This is a purposeful choice because he turned it off like a light switch within a
Yeah.
yeah.
week.
And that's happening here now. They're flying them in, you know what I mean, or whatever way they're taking them in. It's all the EU, and you have to do this, you have to. So Ireland might be a sovereign nation, but in reality, our governments are pandering to the EU. They just do what they're told.
The Brussels. Yeah.
Some of our constitution aligns with EU laws. That's fine, but some of it doesn't. And yet we're held to a standard. Like even the cigarettes in Ireland, right? So you pay for 20 cigarettes, right? Nearly €20, right?
No,
And
what?
yes, and it's something like 70% of that is tax, goes to the government. But you go to Spain, you can get 20 cigarettes for 2.50 up to €4
Wow.
without the tax. So we're getting screwed here. But then I know the EU called the Irish government on that a few years ago, and the Irish government, rather than listen to them on that, just kept charging the VAT on the cigarettes. They're saying your VAT's too high on the cigarettes.
The
Your tax.
value added tax. Is that what the VAT?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And so
Wow,
you come,
nice.
so and you buy in this country is fucking VAT, no matter
Yeah.
what it is. A Mars bar, you know what I mean? Everything. So they just screw you on tax left, right, and centre. And they're doing it with the cigarettes, but they don't listen to the EU guidelines for that. Oh, lower the tax on the smokes. No, we'd rather pay the little bit of a fine, because we're raking in billions.
Well, Matt,
And
they need that money to give out to all the people coming
yeah,
in,
but
all
when
the layabouts.
when the
Yeah.
EU says you have to take in this many immigrants, oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, it's a fucking. But we had a lot less pride parades in Ireland this year for two reasons.
Likewise.
We've so many new migrants that are Muslims and they're not happy with gay people. Yeah, that's one reason. And the other is the funding hasn't. There was a lot of funding coming in from your Biden administration to Ireland,
Yeah.
and that seems to have stopped in a lot of places now. So the gay flags, everything, they're not as prominent. There was a lot less pride parades in Ireland during Pride Month, so
It
that's
is
noticeable.
it's interesting how with the different leftist subgroups, which is what the
Mm.
left does. They put people into groups that have immutable traits. They don't look at people as individuals. But now sort of like their little Frankenstein monster is turning on them because you've got communities of people who are Muslim who aren't really into the Pride Parade. And like in our country, we have a lot of people that come from South America, not just Mexico, but Colombia, El Salvador. They're not really into the Pride Parade stuff, and so these groups don't fit together the way
No,
that the leftists had hoped.
no,
It's
and
very interesting.
in about 10 or 20 years, the gays they'll realize how good they had it with
Yeah,
the normal man like yourself and me, and just normal people. You know what I mean? Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
people
yeah.
not normal anyway. But that's if
I
it
mean,
progresses the way it has been. But I think in Ireland we're still a lot of stuff is very woke and it's only beginning, whereas you're done with it over there. Like Trump's ending it, ending it,
we're
ending it,
drowning
ending it.
in it.
Yeah, but
But
he's
it's,
ended it. At least
yeah,
you've a sign. You have an end to your tunnel there. We don't.
it's
It's
not
just
being it's not being sanctioned and subsidized anymore. It's still,
mm,
we have this discussion all the time here, Matt, where, and it's like when you look at things online and you read and you talk to people, you get a certain impression, and then you go out in the world and it could be different, right? It's not necessarily like, sometimes it's like, oh man, this is crazy. Like Zeus was saying, I don't know if I want to go to Ireland. As soon as I walk down the street, someone's gonna try and bite my lip off or whatever. But because when you get it condensed like that,
I
when
like
that's
my
all
lips.
you're looking at,
exactly.
it seems over it seems like very overwhelming. And my big question has always been, what is the percent of population of people that really are true believers in this destructive, anti-Western, anti-enlightenment, anti-civilization ideology? I think it's less than what we think, but they have a bullhorn and they have a
Right.
compliant press and they punch above their weight. But I don't, what's your feel on that? Is it like, I mean, is like everyone you walk into, it was like, what's that quote where someone said back when Nixon won? They're like, I can't believe Nixon won. No one I know voted for him because they lived in like downtown lefty
Yeah,
Manhattan and they had no friends
that's
that
it.
were Republican. It's like, I can't believe he won.
Well,
But what's your
it's
take?
like it's like the Dewey would remember. You know that story, right, Mike?
Yeah,
Um,
Truman,
I don't know if you're familiar, Matt. There was a presidential. Who was it with?
Truman,
Who? Truman. It was
Truman.
Truman. There was this guy named Dewey, and I guess the election was close, and the pollsters started calling people saying, "Who are you going to vote for?" And everybody said Dewey. The problem is a lot of the African Americans and the minorities at that time didn't have phones, so they weren't called. So
And they wanted
everybody
Truman.
was saying Dewey's going to win, and sure enough, Truman won by like a landslide, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
And they had put
it was on the paper.
yeah, it
Dewey
was
defeats
front
Truman.
pages of the paper said Dewey wins because the pollsters were only calling the people
Yeah.
that were within his demographic.
So that goes to what you were asking me there. I suppose people's extremism or lack of is kind of dependent on the news they're getting and where they're getting it and what they're hearing. Like I was saying to you at the start of the stuff I do. Some people sometimes say, "Oh, well, why didn't you say about the Irishman who's up for rape?" Because the mainstream media is doing that.
Yeah,
Well, I don't
yeah,
need to do that. Like if they were doing this, I wouldn't bother.
right.
And it's just that's all. And it's so people that won't hear about it and they won't be careful because they're like ignorant to the rapes and there's so many kids have been like there's a lot of kids missing in Ireland at the
Oh,
moment from
Jesus.
Jeez, man.
coming in, especially migrant kids, and the excuse from the TUSLA, which is the people in charge of missing kids, etc., is that and looking after the welfare kids, is that so most of them we believe have gone to England and such countries to meet up with their families. Well, so why didn't they go there do you know what I mean? Why didn't they
To
go there in the
begin with,
first? They're just they're being trafficked,
they're being
and most
trafficked.
yeah, the most of the kids missing in Ireland aren't Irish kids, they're foreign
Yep.
kids, and a lot of them are Muslim as well, like,
Jesus.
It's a
young kids.
common here in the United States. I've seen estimates close to like 300,000 are
Mm.
estimated, the migrant children that basically what they were doing is they were coming in with a note pinned to their thing saying like, with a phone number on it.
Send me to New York or
Right.
wherever.
And then the border patrol would be like, okay. And then like someone would answer the phone, be like, hey, we're sending this guy because you're supposed to be in charge of him. And they're like, okay. And then what happened after Trump came in is they started going to these places and there'd be like an address where like 40 kids went and like the house hadn't been inhabited in
And
like two
and
two
to that
years.
note, it's like that
So like no one
shows
knows where they have. It's horrible. I mean,
Yeah,
it's sick. And this was
it,
again, this wasn't a mistake. This was purposeful. Our government was purposely doing this, which is
yeah,
unbelievable.
and but and here's where image and follow through part ways. Like these guys, they give the image of we're going to take them, send them there, or we're going to take them and get them to a safe place. But as soon as they can wash their hands of the situation, they do. So they just send them to the address, put them on a bus, whatever. That's it.
Is there
It's sad.
are
I
there
wanted to ask Des something. Des, so like back when they were like flying migrants and to different cities, did any of that happen in Kansas? Des is from Kansas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's
Uh,
from Kansas? Dorothy.
you ever
yes.
seen The Wizard of Oz?
Yes,
Yeah, that's
Wizard
what
of
I
Oz.
was. Is it like that?
It is exactly like that.
Witches and
Random
tornadoes.
Yeah.
build, just miles of fields, tornadoes, random people walking down the road. It's lots of Tin Men. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how we roll.
Wicked
Of
witches.
course, yeah. 100%
And
accurate film.
we're all wicked
Flying
witches.
monkeys. Flying
You
monkeys.
know, we have those as pets. Anyway, no, they were not flying them in, but we do have a large migrant population. I think they're just because Kansas is relatively close to the border
Mm,
when you think in relation to like New York or even California or Connecticut, whatever. I
yeah.
mean, it's like a less than 10-hour drive from the southern
Texas.
border to Kansas. So a lot of them were being bussed in or like large sprinter vans
Mm,
full of
Yeah.
migrants. But that's not new. Like that's been a thing. Like we
You always had that.
yeah. But I mean also too like Western Kansas is I mean it is there's more Hispanic people there than there are white people or
see, yeah.
any other but it's always been like that because Western Kansas is very highly concentrated in farmland.
Yeah,
There's
but
a lot of
define
farming.
always.
Yeah,
Define
what's
always.
Since I can remember.
Yeah.
I mean, it,
But if it just appeared in the last like 3 years, you'd be like, oh, this, like, you know what I mean? What the fuck's
yeah, I
going on
mean,
here?
like it didn't just appear like that. I mean, it's always been
No.
a high concentration of Hispanic population in Western Kansas, and I think it's growing,
Be right back, guys.
because, connections or, hey, oh yeah, there's farmland there, they can go help or whatever.
Mm,
I mean, the Tyson factory is in Western Kansas. So,
oh wow.
but I have noticed that there is a lot more population of non-English speaking Hispanics anecdotally. I work in a hospital, and so we've just over the years just noticed the amount of translation or translator help or just non-English speaking people
mm.
as
Because
And
patients.
yeah.
why are they not just like, so why is that such a hard thing to come in and learn English?
I don't know. And they say that English is like the hardest language to
It is kind of
learn.
goofy. It is goofy, but
I don't think it's
well,
goofy. I mean, I
part
speak it.
no, but I mean there
Yeah.
are a lot of rules that
Verbs
are
and
weird
nouns.
in English, but the
And
thing
Spanish is hard to learn.
I think part of it is if you go back to the culture thing, again, back in say the close of the 19th century into the early 20th century, at least in the United States, the United States government was dictating uh, how many immigrants would come into the country, all the way down to from which country. They let in many more from Western Europe, and the idea was everyone calls this racist now, but the idea is they're like, look, many of these people speak English. They're actually from the same countries that a lot of people in this country came from. It will be very easy to assimilate these people
Mm,
versus, say, an Aboriginal tribe from Australia would be very difficult to assimilate into the United States. It's so different. So they would make decisions. It was planned. It wasn't just open the borders and let everybody in. So the people who were coming here, there was an incentive to embrace the culture that was already there, and there was a certain level of respect for it. There were people that were like, we still speak our native tongue in the home, and grandma and grandpa do, and maybe my dad, but by the second or third generation, it was English.
mm.
Now we have people that are coming into the country, and it sounds like same thing Ireland's dealing with, where there is no respect for the culture that is there. It's like freebies, right? It's like I'm
Yeah.
coming to get mine, and I'm just gonna. I mean, in the United States, we have protests out in LA where there's like you know, 100 people waving like Mexican flags, El Salvadoran
Yeah.
flags, Colombian flags, like in the United
Palestine
States,
and
Palestine flag. I'm like,
yeah.
what the hell is that? So they're not interested in assimilating because they don't like the culture and don't respect the culture that's here right now. And conversely, the native culture, we're supposed to just be like open arms and all forgiving and everything's okay and
Mm.
funding it and being okay with
Yeah.
$20 cigarettes and all this stuff.
No,
It's
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 true.
madness.
And they say like
Well, the other thing sorry to cut you off, Matt. The other thing I've
go
noticed, how you were saying earlier, like they come and they get their migrant, their migrant benefits, and then they, bounce out or do whatever. I have also noticed that too, like at the hospital, like there's a lot, very much. I mean, probably 5 years ago, I would have never have said that I knew that this was happening, but there are people like what'll happen is maybe like the dad or the mom or the grandma or grandpa, whatever, is the patient, and then the family, which is children, grandchildren, they are living in the United States, but the family, the grandparent, parent, whatever, that's the patient is, they will say 2 weeks ago he was in Mexico
Wow.
yeah. Or do you know
visiting,
what?
visiting. He
Yeah.
wasn't visiting. You
Yeah.
came here to get your surgery, which is, I mean,
Oh,
whatever.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Like
free. And free, that's
for
going.
free. I mean, and I work in heart surgery, so I mean it's expensive. Yeah,
But
Yeah.
you don't gotta lie to kick it, but it's like this story is coming up more and more and more and more. Just like they're always just visiting, or
Yeah.
they just got
And
back from Mexico or
and you
whatever
can
the
and the thing
story.
is, in any system, you can take advantage of things around the edges, or people can, for a while, but if you don't stop it, then it ends up just it gets cannibalized and it destroys everything, you
But
know?
Yeah.
the Rome, we have Roma gypsy migrants, yeah.
Oh,
And
geez.
Oh yeah, the gypsies. Oh, we've got
Oh,
every place
God.
has
yeah,
gypsies.
Yeah, we got them
but
too.
they do this, right?
Well, now you
So
guys do have the Irish travelers, so let's not.
yeah, but I
It's
didn't create them.
yeah, exactly.
They're not as bad anyway. Listen to this, right? So what
Yeah,
they do here is they claim welfare for 7 to 9 of their kids, yeah. But
yeah.
they don't own all them kids. So the woman will go in, she'll say, for the welfare, I have 7 kids. Yeah, here they are, nicely lined up for you. Not physically.
Hmm.
There's their names on
About
a
my
piece of
height,
paper.
right there.
But then her say sister, for example, will also make a claim using the same, like they're probably half her kids, but they're
Yeah, they each get.
joining all the kids, and they're coming out with 700 to 800 quid a week on the dole off the welfare. Then they sit outside shops begging for
Hmm.
money. Yeah, and if they're outside shop A today, they'll be outside shop B tomorrow, and whoever was outside shop B yesterday is outside. So it's orchestrated. There's a man that picks them up every morning, drops them off to the begging spots. They don't need money. They have more money than any of us.
Yeah.
And
They
if they're
do. They're
given
rich.
yeah, and if they're given gaffs, they go and sleep in tents. Because if they sleep in the tents, you can't count their kids on. It's just they're some of the worst ones, just for a
Hey,
game in the
do you
system.
guys have a lot of problem with them stealing, or is it just begging?
Yeah, no, they steal all the time. Yeah,
Oh my
I've
gosh.
done security for 14 years in Ireland, and yeah, they were one of the most prominent. But they find some fucking ways to hide stuff.
Hmm.
Anywhere they can hide it
I'm
under the
amazed.
fold of a ditty or something.
Some of them I'm amazed by what they take. I'm just
They
like, how did you do that? I'm
Yeah,
curious.
a whole chicken or something they take. Yeah, fucking
So
they can
no, no,
take
no.
anything.
One time this Marks, well, it's the Marks family here where I live. Um,
Your
they
name is
they
there.
stole a BiPAP machine, which it is a large, like it's on wheels. Okay, it's
oh,
it's large.
from the
They stole it
hospital?
from the hospital, put it on eBay.
Oh my
The
God.
BiPAP company saw that because they're not for they're not as something that gets sold. They're
Yeah, you don't
not,
just
it's a
buy it.
hospital equipment.
They're not
Yeah.
consumer sold, yeah.
Yeah, they're not for home use. Like they have to be
Yeah.
anyway. So the BiPAP company had to call them. They contacted them to like figure out how they got this anyway. So they got their shit back. That the BiPAP company did, but
That's
I'm
crazy,
like,
man.
how
We
did you?
sell, we
That's
sell.
Yeah.
it's on wheels. It's half the size of an adult person. Like
Yeah.
it's that large.
Did it go
How did you do?
up the
How do you do
trouser
that?
leg? Was it?
Yeah, yeah. They put it
That's
in.
usually where they put everything. Trouser leg,
Oh
trouser
no,
leg.
it's larger than that. Like it's like a Like if
They
you were to roll like a computer on a cart, like that's the size of this thing.
they probably
Mm.
put a code on it and then like pretended it was
Probably
a
That's what
stole
they
family
some
had
member.
to put a
scrubs.
blanket over it or
Yeah.
something.
Up the
Probably
butt.
stole some
Crazy.
scrubs. They looked like they worked there.
That's
Dunzo.
true. Yeah, they probably did that. I was
So
just amazed by that one.
with the people coming in now, Matt, and I'm just curious. I don't know. Are they, because we dealt with this a lot with people coming from certain countries, from South America, especially Venezuela, El Salvador, um, where they were just releasing people from their prisons and like insane asylums to go. Is that part of this, or are
Oh
these
yeah, like
people much more like
no, this scruffy. A lot of them are scruffy. You can tell they're mental. They're not just. They're
so
not
some
like
of this
doctors or anything.
is purposeful from the countries they're coming from? I mean, it seems like if I'm in a country and like all my population is leaving, that's not good. That
Well,
doesn't.
no, this isn't the good population. So what's
Yeah,
happening in Ireland, basically, they had this plan called 2050 or 2040, right? And the idea was to have 1 million extra people because our older people are staying alive longer. The pyramid,
yeah, yeah.
pyramid, yeah. Old
It's getting
people at the
small,
top.
and inverted.
Ours is getting like that now, where the middle can't support. So they're trying to throw shit at a wall. Basically, if we take 1 million migrants, surely 900,000 will be good people, and we'll just deal with the other 100,000 as we go. I
It's
think that's what they're
madness.
doing because we're not having kids here. We're just not. They make it too appealing not to have kids, so people stop having kids.
I mean, it's
We just did an episode on declining birth rates. It's interesting that you mentioned that.
The welfare is the social welfare, like here, is the same on. I don't know if it's the same in America. Still, you get you get the money if the dad's not living with you. So single
yeah,
parents allowance.
Yeah,
So
they socialize single parenthood.
yeah, incentive. It's an incentive to split up or even pretend you're not together. And then he has no rights on the council house she's living in because it's just a snowball effect. So eventually they just split up. Like it's like unfair. You owned everything. Everything's in your name. I'm the dad. I'm supposed to not be with you so you can get money. This house is in your name because I'm not supposed to be here. But they are together. But it's how they get the most welfare. And then they just split up, and there's no point. And no one's getting married, and
mm-mm.
neither would I. But the 50% end of divorces, would you get in a parachute and jump out at 50% didn't open? Someone said that years ago, and when I heard that, I was like, damn right, yeah, I wouldn't get married. Not a chance. 50%. No, what's the point? Just, and I'm probably part of the problem. People need to get married and have kids in
Yeah,
white countries especially, because. But then again, I had this argument with myself. Yeah,
Mhm.
the white
Go
race.
on.
I hear a lot of people, right? White people were generally 10% of the world's population. And 90% are people of color, which is everything but white people. Yeah. So they've ganged up now and we're the minority. That's fine, right? And I hear a lot of people saying, like I've just said, repopulate to save the white race. Yeah, I've heard that a lot. But what you're doing is you're repopulating, you're putting more. So for example, if it does come to in 100 years, there's no white population. Yeah. So be it. Let the world fantasize about what they had as opposed to trying to destroy it and ruin it all the time and make shit of it. And 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 instead of having kids to put them out there as 10%, 9%, 8%, one day they're going to be 1% facing 99%. So why are we giving them life to fight? Do you understand? To keep the white race going when we're not even going to be alive. I reckon leave them, let them have the planet. Fucking wish for the days they had a white race. You know what I mean? And that's it. That's my vision on it. But
yeah.
look, I don't have kids, and I don't plan to have kids. Wouldn't bring them into this world. Not a chance.
Wow.
And it's always been like that. And that's since I had sperm in my ball sack. You know what I mean? There's never going to be a child come out from that. So
I
yeah, the
hope
world is
not.
just
Yeah.
a disaster. Earth's a disaster.
That, yeah, I mean, I don't agree, but I
No.
respect your opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I have had that opinion before. I mean, when I was younger, I didn't have my daughter till I was 43, I think. So I totally get it. And as far as like, you know, I'm more interested in culture than I am in someone's race necessarily. I get
Yeah.
that.
but they're really the same thing. No,
It can be. Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't see any definition, like anything that there's no blurry lines. Everything now is if you're white, you're this. If you're black, you're this. If you're Chinese, you're this. If you're Indian, you're this. To me, culture has now become your race. For the
It's
most part.
definitely it's definitely associated strongly. I would grant you that for sure. Absolutely. I mean, so
Cultures become social currency. I mean, I'll agree with that. And like what you're talking about, it's such a third rail kind of conversation because once you get into like save the white race and people turn that into white power, white supremacy, things like that.
Yeah.
I just want everybody to get along. You know what I mean? Like
But
I
yeah,
walk
but
on the
that's
street.
ideal. Yeah, that's ideal. Like, but it's just like my right. Tell me if you disagree with this, right? A lot of Africans were taken from the jungle for slavery
mhm.
and they were taken out of, we should say, the jungle and put into a civilized society. America, for example, you had houses, you had lights, you had cooking, you had stuff that these people came from the jungle, yeah, where literally they're living off the land, yeah, and they're put into an advanced society, and to this day they haven't caught up. And that's my view on American black people, African Americans, whatever they want to call it. That's my view on them, why they haven't evolved like Americans, because it's the DNA. I just believe in DNA having a lot to do with your presence today,
Mhm.
and the people
I
today.
Yeah, I mean, I would push back on that to a degree where I wouldn't go with such a broad brush because, and you may not know this, I mean, being in Ireland, but in the United States, in cities especially, up until I would say the late 40s, there were neighborhoods where I grew up in Baltimore that were like all black people, and they were all very wealthy business
Yeah, yeah, I've
people
seen
at
that. Yeah,
nightclubs, all kinds of cool stuff, very educated, and a lot of there's still a lot of that. What happened sometime in the early 60s, the mid 60s, when the government stepped in and you had, I think in like the mid 50s, the percentage of African American children with fathers was something like 85% or something.
yeah,
And
and then it
and
dropped.
now it's like 17% or
And
something.
that's exactly like here, and we're all white. That
Yeah.
happened here. What you were saying,
And
that's
it's
I'm
just
talking
horrible. It's like it
genetically.
was,
Uh,
yeah. But I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with, I mean, there's a lot of things that people are different about. We're all humans. But when you have these incentives being created towards self-destruction of a subculture and self-destruction of a community, it works, man. I mean, it works every time. I mean, you've got in the United States, you have Appalachian culture, which is west of here in the mountains of the Appalachian Mountains. There's some places out there that,
Third world.
I don't think people own shoes. You know what I mean? And these are white people. So I'm just saying it is, I get your point, but I think it's a bit broad to just base it. It's coincidental. I mean, not coincidental. It's definitely easy to separate it by race, but I think there's more going on than that
but just on
personally.
that point, when the welfare thing came in and black people, it took a nosedive as far as success and income and stuff. Why did that not happen with the white race in America at the same time? Surely they had the same rights and benefits. I'm just saying there's a and it's
No, I
not
get
their
it.
fault. Do you understand? I'm just saying we have evolved. Even yous, I'm sure you come from Europe.
Yeah,
Really, your genetics, your DNA,
correct.
like their DNA hadn't evolved yet into the same kind of civilization, same kind of advancement, and they were put in to the future, if you like. And they've been there ever since, and they're trying to catch up. And that's not a slight; that's just an observation. And I
Yeah.
did see America done a study on races and IQ, and the Asians were first, top IQ. Then it was white people, then Mexicans, then Black Americans were last on the list. For the lowest IQ. And so it's a study. I don't know how broad it was, a big enough one, but it just holds weight to the theory. I'm having a theory, and I'm not racist, but it's just a theory. I just think if you're going to take something, put it in the future, it's always going to be playing catch up as far as morals and civilized ideals, you know? Because
I mean, from a culture standpoint, I mean, who like the people that are coming into Ireland, there is definitely a cultural rot, lack of morals, lack of self-respect for them to be doing that, right?
yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't do that, right? Because I'd feel shame and I'd
Yeah.
feel like horrible about it. And I would feel like, man, I want to go out and do my own thing. I don't want to be I don't want to be waiting for a check from the government. I want to
mm,
like make 5 times that much and get what I want. So there is definitely that going on. Like I question, like, how are they okay with this? Like, what kind of existence is that?
I don't understand how you can sit there and say, let's just say I want to move to France. How you could go to another place and not like have shit lined up. I just don't
Yeah,
yeah,
understand. I don't get it. And
right.
I guess I understand if you're running from something, but I still feel like I want to have some shit lined up.
yeah,
Like people there, a
Just
place to
like
go, something to
just like
do.
if you were running from like an abusive relationship, you still want to have like
A shelter or
like
something.
to know you're going to have a house or somewhere to go, you know?
yeah, yeah. You take a blanket or something if you're going to sleep on the in the streets. You know, you're not just no.
Yeah, if I knew I was going to have to be homeless, okay, but I'd
Yeah,
know that. So like I'd get a tent and bring it with me or you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I just,
But these people are
you know,
literally just chasing
maybe
the
that's
most money.
They're chasing his money.
Yeah.
maybe that's
And
just
that's
the
what I was
like
saying. We're
the
there's
privilege of not having to have experienced that, but I don't know.
Well,
yeah,
also,
that's
I Yeah,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
Mike.
No, I was saying I think there's also a level of the people who are, say, pouring into Ireland, like they think that the Irish leadership and the Irish people are chumps, right? And the people coming in the United States who are doing the same thing, they think we're chumps. Like
No, 100%.
who would allow that to happen? Like they wouldn't allow that to happen. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. And when they hear there's more of them there, they're emboldened by numbers, you know. So let's go over, and we won't even respect the laws or the rules. And there's pedophiles getting caught by pedophile hunters in England and Ireland, Indian ones especially, and Middle Eastern too. And their first excuse is, "I didn't know it was illegal. It's not illegal in my country." Yeah,
wow.
you did know. You could speak perfect English. So the thing about Indians coming into Ireland, yeah, um, they're having to learn English to get the visa to even come over. So
Hmm.
in a way that's good, but then they come over and it's you know what I mean? It's like,
They
well,
don't
forget
pay.
that out the window. No, they don't. And they all live together. They stay in the same place. It's like every nationality that comes over outside of Europe, they congregate in the same areas. You know, there's certain areas that are all black people. No, I say black, they're African. The
You guys
parents are
have
African, the
7-Eleven
kids.
out there?
No, I know what 7-Eleven is, but we have stores and all, like shops, we call them.
Yeah.
We have
That
shops
was a
and all.
joke.
But no, what's the
Well,
connotation?
in the United States, a lot of Indian and Pakistani people like own and run
Oh shit!
7-Elevens.
I
And then
swear
they
to
all work
God,
there
man.
too. It's so, I mean, it's funny. I mean, it's very like
Biden
everywhere.
even made fun of it before he was elected. Like back when he was I think when he was a senator, he was saying like he goes in 7-Eleven and he doesn't even, was it everybody's Indian or something? Like he
Yeah,
even
and
said
Everybody's
that.
in the,
there's an
Well,
issue, right? In a lot
which
of
is
shops
fine. I
now,
mean,
yeah,
sure.
a lot of shops in my area now, yeah, all Indian staff, and it's just overnight, yeah. And this is a broad statement again, all right? But the BO, and it's a real thing. And anyone I've asked, like, yeah, man, that's true. So you go in the shop, it's follow. If you're looking for help off one of the staff, follow the smell of the BO. And then you're here, sorry, I need to find the curry or something. Straight away know where that is. Always sold out now, you know. I'm joking. That's an
Huh.
Aldi joke. That's an
I've
Aldi
never
joke.
experienced that.
Another
Have you
anomaly
not?
here
Right, so it's
is
different.
is in front of your supermarkets here and your 7-Elevens. There's always people standing around looking for day labor and stuff. And
That's the Home Depot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Home
well,
Depot.
7-Eleven's here too. But the interesting thing about it is you'll only see like 3 or 4 people standing together, and then like 20 feet away, you'll see 3 or 4 more because um, it's something with ice where if you have a congregate enough people congregating in a small group, like say 10, I don't know the exact rules, but then suddenly they become a gang, and then ice can come in and
Right. So if they
they
stay
can
in
so
shorter
they
or
stay in
smaller
small
numbers.
groups of like three or
Well,
four, 20
that
feet
you
apart.
know,
It's
that's a
very
great
clever.
that's a great example. And I know the 7-Eleven Zeus is talking about because we used to live in the same building, and I know exactly where he's talking about. And the thing that the and this is just like a little vignette, but this is what just drives me bananas. So you've got these people, and like I said earlier, when you have large numbers of working age, military age males that are like layabouts and not doing anything during the day, that's bad for a society. Like, I think Chris Rock said that. He's like, if you go into a neighborhood at noon and there's a bunch of dudes hanging out, smoking spliffs and all this stuff, not good. If you go into a neighborhood at noon and there's women walking around pushing baby carriages and stuff, that's probably a good neighborhood. And it holds up. But in our society, people, our fellow citizens, there's so many of them that like, they feel bad. Like, oh, I'm going to give this guy money. Like they're just trying to do their best. They're not seeing the fact that they're undocumented. They're driving down wages of working people that are citizens of our country because
Mm.
why am I going to pay a professional drywaller $25 an hour when I can get, this guy for $10 an hour, at Home Depot? But people, it's like this suicidal compassion that a lot of Western societies have, where they're like, but I'm compassionate, but I care, but I want to help people, all the way to the point that it destroys my society, my civil society. And
Yeah.
it's like I see that everywhere. And I don't I don't know how to get out of that kind of death spiral unless you just start drawing hard lines, which is a lot what Trump is doing. Unfortunately, he's only got the remainder of this term left. So I'm very curious who will be after him because that's going to make a huge difference about how much of this sticks or doesn't stick. But
Uncle
at the end of the
Van.
day, you've got to draw some hard lines. And that's why when people now they're like, oh man, ICE has deported 100,000 people last month and 3 of them were U.S. citizens that were just hanging out with their buddies, and they had to get them off the plane because they made a mistake, and they let them come back. I'm like, oh, so 3 people were inconvenienced. I don't care. Look at the
Yeah.
big picture of what we're trying to fix here. I don't. Whatever. Anyway, I don't even know
Yeah,
where I
you
was
have
going
to
with
be
that, but
cruel to be kind in a way. Like, no, you're
yes,
dead right, because the world, someone, I don't know who said it, and I heard it the other night, and I'm not being sexist, right? It's sexism's turn now, right?
it's my favorite episode
But
so far.
but I'm not
Yeah,
being sexist, right? I'm
this
just
is
saying they made
yeah.
this point, and I can't remember who it was, right? You've probably heard it. It all happened when you started letting women into power, right? And now let me
You're
explain
gonna get
why
me in trouble, Matt. You're getting me in
women
trouble.
have feelings, yeah,
Yeah,
more than men. They're built with emotions and feelings, and that's fine to run like a school, brilliant. But to run a country with emotions that you need to be iron, like Margaret Thatcher, great
Margaret
example,
Thatcher, man.
brilliant example of a
Fantastic.
woman in politics. But generally, it's the women and your liberals are a big reason. And actually, that's probably it. Women that are liberals in politics. That's how I'd pin that down. Women
It's
that are
I would
liberals.
argue Tulsi Gabbard's a pretty badass.
look,
Yeah, so just liberal women. I think that's probably the best way to
Nez is
describe it.
badass.
I mean, it's possible that you can talk in generalities, and that's fine because we can't get down to the nitty gritty. And in general, I would agree with certain things, but you can never take away someone's humanity. You still have to treat people as individuals. And again, there is the Margaret Thatchers. There's what was the lady in India? I can't remember her name. Began with a G, I think,
But
back in the
but they're definitely
50s.
outliers.
They're
And
definitely outliers. That's what I'm saying. I
to be
grant
an
you.
outlier is proving my point.
Yes, no, I'm
Because
with you. I get
otherwise
you.
there'd be hundreds of Margaret Thatchers by now. Why have we only had one? To understand? Because
Well,
it's an outlier. It's not for like I say, running a school, I don't think is for a man. I don't think men should run schools because you need a certain amount of emotion, compassion, empathy for kids. Yeah,
And
running the
patience.
world and countries. It looks like we took a nosedive in society when mainly the internet and then your porn, and that makes a lot of people depraved, and now everything's about getting their hole, like sticking their dick into shit, and just having kids be fair game. It's all about lowering the age of consent, and that this is just liberals are just, I think, a product of the amount of porn they grew up with on the internet and the access they had to it, and how everything's a fucking porn movie. I just feel a lot of it is depraved with liberals. A lot of it.
And they're
Are
not,
are
yeah.
when something becomes too available, yeah, it can get perverted. And I would argue that to what you're saying, that women probably are not the majority of the porn consumers. It's
I don't
more,
know. Maybe.
think?
No, I don't know about that. No, I don't know about that.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
depends generationally. Yes, the generation behind you, me, and definitely they grew up on porn. I remember I was babysitting. I was 12 years old, and there was a porno video, and it was a video, and I had to recall where the tape was at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how freaked out. Put it in, play a bit, do
And
the
then
business,
rewind it.
take it out, make sure, yeah, everything with
This
my
isn't
hand,
while you were babysitting, right?
babysitting, yeah. And then that was porn for me. Yeah, it was very secretive, very hard to get, and very, you know,
Did did you guys do you guys
It's a
have
marketing.
born in the
any
woods conversation,
yeah, do
isn't
you
it?
guys have any forests in Ireland? Do you guys do you there's a common experience that a lot of Americans have of finding porn magazines out in the woods. Is that a thing in Ireland?
I've never found one. I've been in the woods. But
Almost every American child, at least every American boy, has a story of when they were, primary school, finding porn magazines out in the woods, like in a hole in a tree or something like that. Because I guess people would hide it out there. I don't know,
yeah,
but
because it was shameful, but not shameful.
well,
No,
it wasn't
shameful is
something you were
probably
like reading at the
accurate.
dinner table. I mean,
No,
just look in our lifetimes where you go back to, any technology, porn always is the first thing that like drives it forward. I mean, you
First
look
yeah,
at like
but
camera, they go across
literature,
the street, first porn.
photography, yeah, VHS tapes, all that stuff. But if you just look in our lifetime of how benign it was to now, people are buying like sex robots and
uh,
VR headsets. And I mean, I'm like, and this is only in the span of like 40 years. And
yeah,
you cannot tell me that that does not have a major deleterious effect
of
on the
course.
human psyche. I mean,
Remember, two girls in a cup.
I never
Ugh.
saw it
No, that was
because
the start of it.
that was,
Depravity hitting
yeah,
the wall. Like,
I never saw it. Someone who I really loved was like, don't watch it. And I trusted that person. And I never did. I
well, I
never did
watched it.
watch it.
I couldn't believe women would do that. I never had that. Just that's what I mean. It was like, oh, and it's going viral, so everyone's loving it. You know what I mean? So it became like culture now.
It's
This is society now. Women eat
it
someone
it's
shits in a
not
cup, and
there's a thing, and again, this is to credit someone else. I'm sorry, I don't remember who. But like the whole thing with pornography going like supernova just in our lifetimes, you know, there is I think there is definitely a negative effect on our brains um, with the internet of hearing and seeing, reading, videos, stories, all this stuff. The worst things that happen to 800 million people across the planet. Like we're not designed for that type of input, man. I mean, it's like you figure 100 years ago, well, 150 years ago, a lot of people never went more than like 100 miles from their house, like their whole
mm,
life, right? So that's who they interacted with. Now, I mean, there's there's stuff that's so sad and stuff that happens to people that I don't even have any business knowing about. But like all I gotta do is, the whole thing with like Kirk and seeing that Charlie Kirk and seeing that video, it's like freaking it's like imprinted on the inside of my skull now. Like I don't even want it in there.
yeah,
It's like I don't want to
Kids
see that.
have to have been exposed to that. That is the real downfall of this news cycle that we're in. Is that blink and you miss it, but it's still there. I mean, the Charlie Kirk thing, I think you sent me the video, and I'm like, whoa,
Hmm.
didn't expect that. But I'm sure kids are seeing it just as quickly.
100%.
It's
But
like it's the process. This is what I think is, and I've said this before. You'll probably agree. There's no process to anything anymore.
It's a big experiment on our
And kids
brains
going
here.
out and playing, that's practically non-existent. I mean, get up at sunrise, come back when the lights come on. That's how we were for the majority of my youth. And now, if a kid wants to learn a sport, it's just not the same. We used to play scratch football games, down at the field at the end of the street, and I don't see that anywhere. Soccer, sure, but most of that's organized soccer as well. There's no process. You don't have to work for anything. You want to see porn? You don't have to go out into the woods and find that glorious batch of Playboys. You just type in boobs and there you go.
boobs. Nah, that's some tame porn you're looking at. Boobs. Oh,
No, but I
boobs.
mean, no, because boobs will get you down the road.
Oh
That's
yeah, that's a start. Might as well just
That's
go pussy and the but the do you remember rotten.com? Basically when the internet started.
oh yeah.
Rotten.com.
yes. Yes, I
I
do.
I seen the Charlie Kirk thing. Jesus Christ! But I've been conditioned since the beginning of the internet. I've been looking at gory shit, live leak, and everything. So that
People hit by
that wasn't the
cars.
shock to me. To me, it was like, oh fuck, he's just about to. To me, it was, oh, he was just about to. Like he had a thought in his head, a comeback to a question. He was just about to, and then bang.
Yeah.
That's what if you like affected me rather than the blood. It was just like the man was just going about his thought, and bang, he's dead. He's
And
gone.
he's
You know.
gone, like turning out a light.
Yeah, and I heard locally, apparently, when he got shot, his daughter was so low down because of her height that all she seen was her dad disappear. She didn't see the blood or anything like that. He was just there and
You
not
would
there. So
hope. Yeah, you would hope that
she
she
just,
didn't.
yeah. So apparently, she doesn't have
But
that
she, but,
image.
but like you were saying earlier, once it's out there, it's out there. She may
Yeah,
not have seen it. She may not see it for a month, a week, a year,
mm,
but at some point she will be exposed to it, either through some villainous behavior from somebody
yeah.
else or
There,
And,
morbid curiosity from her.
but there was a time in our own memories, and I remember Rotten.com, I remember Ogrish, and a lot of those sites. I mean, I was a little bit older when I saw them, but there was a time in our lifetimes where that video of someone getting shot would never you would never see it. Like
mm,
you just wouldn't see it. And now you see crap like that all the time, and it's like I just can't imagine someone being like 4 years old and their older brother being like, "Hey," and putting the phone, "Look, hey, check this out."
yeah,
Like
yeah. Well,
that's gotta fuck with you, man.
I know for me, right, growing up in the 80s and all, there was a lot of in the evening news of just bloodshed in Northern Ireland, etc. There was a lot of that. Look, just it's conditioning, but like I say, when you're not shocked by the blood, it's because that doesn't
That
shock you
someone
anymore. But
died.
you're shocked by the humanity of it and the lack of humanity and the fact, like I say, he was just mid
He was
thought, and then didn't ever see that coming. So if I watch a clip of him now, I'm thinking at any stage in that sentence, he could have been shot. It's just mad that someone could just take you out in the middle of
And
thinking.
we've been talking about it a lot. It's I know I'm not I am comparing it to 9/11. The emotions that I have from this are equal to that. Like I'm still reeling.
I'm still reeling from it, personally. Oh, I lost you, Zeus, for a second.
I may not have liked him that much. I'm starting to like him more now after these all the videos that they're showing. They're not finding any negative stuff on him, which I
Yeah,
think is great. But uh, it's just that it was a life taken that. Oh, let me get back to what I was saying. So I may not have liked him, but I always listened to him. You know what I mean? And that's where we need to be.
Why
And
didn't you like him?
yeah, I was thinking that.
I didn't dislike him.
It's
Okay.
just neutral.
I mean,
I
I
mean,
always felt
you don't have to suck someone's dick to like them.
Yeah,
no, no. You don't have to. No, I'm just
I mean, I'm just saying.
kidding.
I mean, people that are like, "Oh, I didn't like." I'm not jumping on users, but I keep hearing people say, "Oh, I didn't like the guy." I'm like, how could you? Like, who do you like? Like, who? How could you not like this guy? I mean, you could disagree with what he's saying. I get that,
No, it was more
but
the
the guy
start.
was one of the nicest people or presented that way. Completely
I'm
considerate,
starting
well
to
mannered, well
come around to
spoken.
that, but I always felt he had a little bit of snark to how he delivered,
That's
and
everyone I know.
Oh, but could you imagine talking to them liberals and
No,
yeah.
knowing how deranged they are? You're gonna be a bit snarky, you know. You're gonna be like,
And
you
"Fucking, I
got to.
got you,
and
you
I'm coming
bastard."
around to that. I'm coming
Yeah,
around to that. And I'm seeing a lot of the really wonderful things that he's saying, and the love of his wife and all his friends. Nobody has anything bad to say him. So
mm,
perhaps I'm wrong. Keep this in mind, Matt. I voted for Biden, then I voted for Trump.
yeah.
I've changed my
Okay.
perspectives massively.
Yeah,
And organically. Nobody, Mike, Jack, Des, Tom, nobody made me change my opinions. I'm pretty bullheaded. I came to a lot of my decisions from just being pragmatic, just
Mm.
being like, and much like the Charlie Kirk thing, maybe I went overboard with it. And like you said, it was never a dislike. I was just, kind of impartial. I'd watch it, but again, even when I didn't particularly actively pursue watching him, I always listened. And
But it
that's
makes
what we need
sense.
to do. We need to rub up against that brick wall, get some of that abrasion on us, feel
Well,
some
you
pain.
do, because
What's
it
that?
makes sense that you voted for Biden and then you switched to Trump. So when it comes to people like Charlie Kirk, you're 1 foot in. You're not both feet in like I would be, or uh,
Michael.
I
Maryland
tend to
man,
be that
Yeah,
way.
Mike. Yeah,
Michael. Like we would
I
be, but you're yeah, like you're being cautious, like sticking your foot in a bat. You know, you're gonna put 1 foot. Yeah, yeah, I'll
Yeah,
take
I'm
that.
not saying Mike or Jack or any of them are not complex, but I'm a little more complex. I have in certain aspects. I have beliefs that often are on the fence with things. I'm empathetic to a lot of things, and I can see how somebody could feel a way and empathize with it, not necessarily agree, but not persecute them for it, which is funny because Michael back me up. I tend to get persecuted for a lot of things, and I got nothing but like
yeah.
kindness in my heart. I don't take shit. That might be part of my problem, but
Th-
so
No, that's never a problem.
I like to feel a little bit of that pain so I know that, and then either I'm not going to have the pain anymore, or I adapt to it and take it into my own little personal zeitgeist. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
personally, the thing that we talked about, like the with Kirk being assassinated, like where the blood or the humanity and all that stuff. I think the thing that stuck that has been sticking with me that I just can't get past is this guy was murdered in cold blood in front of everybody for for talking, and I don't have any I don't know when has that happened before.
well,
I mean, I'm sure it has, but to
Kennedy,
this
Malcolm
level, I'm
X.
like, if that can happen, if there are people out there that are going to put a bullet in somebody for what they're saying, well, I say a lot of shit. You know what I mean? Like,
so do I.
someone just going to shoot me now? Like, and then the reason why that's so disturbing is over the last week, I've had to hear through the press, through all the channels that come in about, well, he was a provocateur. Oh, he's like, I don't even know what that means. Like, oh, he was, right-wing extremist or all this stuff. I'm like, he was talking. He wasn't holding power over anybody. He wasn't threatening anybody. He wasn't like calling for people to be like, killed or anything like that. He was a completely just talking to, I mean, and people in my own country are like okay with that. They think that that's okay. They
But you
think
know
it's
what?
fine.
I know there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, he's dead and all. It was one person, okay, that killed him. All of them
Yeah.
did. So the one person that killed him is the one responsible. Now, all the others that are celebrating it and all, they didn't have the guts or the want or the desire to kill them himself. So I wouldn't say it's that much of a lost cause, the country or whatever, the free speech or anything like that. It was one lunatic. Now, there's probably more out there, and they're probably going to take note and do it better than him and not get caught, you know. But the guy who done it, obviously he's gay or whatever. He's with this boy who thinks he's trans, and you know that whole world seems messed up. The trans world and the Antifa world, the anti-fascists, all them. It's like, if nothing else, it's highlighting they're the ones to watch now. They're not just women in dresses that we can laugh at, not clowns. They're actually potential to be killers, you know.
Yeah,
And that's
and
what I'll
they
think.
all use the same language. You know, the language
Yeah,
that he used is the language they use, calling people fascists, calling people
yeah,
Hitler, calling
exactly.
people Nazis, you know, and it's I mean that I don't know, man. I thought there was a line, and apparently there's not
Very
a
blurry.
line, you know.
Yeah,
Well,
and
and historically, and I've mentioned this also before on the show, most of the most horrific regimes of countries are from the left. We had Lena on, she's from Iran. She said that the people in charge that are making life miserable over there are the left. The Nazis were left. Um, I want to say Mussolini, correct?
yeah, it's like when you're left with the babysitter too long. You know, the parents are gone. They're the conservatives. When the liberals are in charge, like the babysitters are running your life
You
now. You
stay
know,
up at
and
till 1 o'clock watching
yeah,
Jaws.
oh,
Yeah.
you can go have sex with each other out the back, and yeah, you go eat what you want out of the press. No one can call anyone any names. It's the babysitter versus the grown adults. You
But
know.
and I think, I mean, again, part of the thing that with Kirk that resonated with so many people, and I think why he had such a target on him, figuratively speaking, um, is the one thing, and we got into this a little bit before, but the one thing with the left, and I don't use the word liberal because liberalism is a whole other thing. This is what we're dealing with is beyond liberalism, but they're not grounded in anything. There's no undergirding morality or culture. It's all in the moment. History begins today. There was no tomorrow. The future is this utopian vision that if we just do what we're told we can achieve, which will never be achieved because they ignore the human condition. They ignore the fact that human beings can be horrible to each other. And there is no utopia. But that's what they're pursuing versus people who of goodwill who either A, believe in a power greater than themselves in an organized fashion, or they have humility, right? They don't feel that they're the center of the universe. They're not narcissists, you know, and that's the other side where I would call like the regular people who aren't just living for right now. They're living they have children that they want to do well. They want to be remembered well. They want to, if there's an afterlife, go to the afterlife. Like they're not just all about like this particular little box that we're in right now. And that is a
Yeah.
huge societal schism in Western countries that needs to be unraveled. It needs to be solved because it's when bullets start flying, man, that's horrible.
Yeah, and it's what you say. You call them leftists. The
Yeah,
leftists.
leftists.
I wonder, do they believe they're the good guys? Because if they believe they're the good guys, then we're dealing with a whole different kettle of fish than
They
just,
believe, yeah, they're fighting for the utopia.
if they believe they're on the good side, then they're not as bad as
I know. I've thought about
they
this. I know.
stand. Yeah, but so you can but then they are because they do this, but then they're not because then how could you not see that this is bad? Or, do you know what I mean? Like, so it's, but I think on the other side, which is conservative, not just normal people. Look for example, right? People think I'm racist. They think I'm anti-migrant. I'm anti-everything, right? What I told
I
you is
don't
that
get that.
no, but they do. You should. I'm called a fascist and everything on
There you
the
go.
videos and the Twitter and everything. The mostly on Twitter. But the what I told you is at the start, I blew the whistle in a job. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, and I don't know if you know that. the manager of my company said, I'm going to be hiring new security to work with you guys on the tram. But I'll tell you now, I'm not going to hire blacks or Indians, right? And that's where I stood up and blew the whistle
Yeah.
because I reported it. They did nothing about it. And then I went further and then I brought it to court. I turned down tens of thousands of euro for me to sign a thing and shut up. I said, no, because I don't need your money. I need to sleep at night. I need to know you're not getting away with this. Was going on for 15 years. And
Wow.
the first day I heard about it was the last time. And now it's flooded with Indians and black people, right? But for
Right.
15 years, it was all white. And so
That's
people get it
interesting, Matt.
confused. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you might think, oh, he's not you, but because of the way I speak about certain things like immigration and black people coming in and saying that we owe them something and stuff. I'm all for these people to come, but properly controlled, not to the detriment of Irish people, never to the detriment of Irish people, you know, and
Right. Right.
neither did I want them to get jobs to the detriment of Irish people. But I knew as a security team, we were out in the public dealing, so we're on the trams and we're dealing with black people as issues, and they're telling us we're racist and you're all fucking white and da. And so we knew, like, if we had black people working with us,
It
that's
would
going to help
help.
us in their jobs. Yeah, it's
Correct.
100% going to help. But they weren't hiring them, so I exposed it. Same with Indians, same, and it's all changed now.
Isn't
But
that ironic? I mean, that's incredibly ironic, man.
it
I mean,
is,
just I mean to where things are now, and you're getting called fascist, and
yeah, which is why I don't mind, because sometimes
yeah, don't
and
you
it's
can't.
easy to say to someone, well, go and check this out. And they
Yeah.
never come back to me.
Yeah, yeah.
You're a racist. Well, go and look at this. And they never come back. They don't come
Yeah.
back to say, prove me wrong, prove me right. You can't say I done that for virtue. I am broke as a person in my family. We grew up broke. We're not poor now, but the money they were offering me would have changed my life, would have
Yeah.
changed my family's life. And I wouldn't sleep at night if I took that money. Do you know what I mean? It's about right and wrong. And that's
Yes.
why I like to
About
say what I say.
kindness.
Yeah, what I'm saying now is about right and wrong too. And I'm just going to be honest for life. And it doesn't matter if it suits the narrative of people I'm beside or, people against me or with me. I'm going to say it. I'm going to do it. And it just fucks with people's minds when,
They don't understand it. It's
Well,
like
to,
people.
to, to, to paint a different picture of it, it would be like if Aboriginals, like from Australia, were to come over here and say, we want, what, because they were persecuted in Australia and they started to hit us in America with persecution that
right.
was given to them in Australia. I'd be the same way. I'd be like, fuck you. That's not historically
Yeah.
factual at all. I will help you, but don't force me. And that's what a lot of people do these days is they don't rely on your kindness. They manhandle you and persecute you in this way where they don't even go for trying to make you feel guilty. They imply that you're guilty already and
Yeah.
you're already on a defensive posture. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like disagreement with them makes you a Nazi, right? It's like complete lack of any sort of nuance or anything, and
Yeah.
they
It's zero
can't
to
debate.
60.
And
They don't want to debate. They want to shut you down. They want to shut you up. They want to just get past you.
yeah. And
And
the same
capitalize.
people it's the same people calling for Israel to fuck off out of Israel, basically give it to Gaza and so
Right.
to kill
Right,
the
right, right.
fucking Jews and all. These people are they're calling they're actually acting like Hitler,
Yeah.
right? Because they want Jews to die, they want Jews to lose, but it, they'll call you Hitler when they're the
Yeah.
ones acting like Hitler. It's just so fucking. They've no sense. But like I say, if they think they're doing good, then mind is blown because what do you do with these good people then? Like I just
Right.
want to choke them, but you can't because they're actually good people. They're just a load of sick people, maybe.
It
Maybe they're
it's
deranged.
maddening, Matt. It's maddening. I
Yeah,
agree. I've thought about that before. It's like, you know, because again, it's at the end of the day, people, I mean, there's people out there that are psychopaths that want
yeah.
to hurt people that get off on that. I don't think that's far from the majority of people. I mean,
No, couldn't be the majority.
it could
Jesus,
be the majority.
no, no.
So people out there, even if they're doing dumb things and calling people Nazis, they think they're doing well. And like, again, to bring this back a little bit, where when we were talking at the beginning of this, where I was like, is it the immigrants that bother you, or shouldn't it be the leaders that are allowing this situation to happen? It's a similar dynamic when I think about it of these people, because it's like I don't hate them, but I do hate the the people who control the corporate media, that control the narrative that's being put out, that are trying to spin things a certain way
Mm.
to their benefit politically, who are manipulating people and gaslighting people left and right. Those people I have a lot of disdain for. The end
Yeah.
user, like I get it. It's like we always say on our podcast. It's like, everyone knows Coca-Cola, right? Why is Coca-Cola? They spend more on advertising than I think any company in the entire world, but everyone already knows about Coca-Cola. Why do they
Yeah.
do that? And it's like they do it because it works. That's why they do it. And so if we're human beings, we're sophisticated, but we're not so sophisticated that if we are told the same thing over and over and over again, that it's not going to somehow get internalized to us. Seeing it on a billboard, hearing it on the radio. This guy's always saying it. It's going to influence your behavior. That's why they do it.
Yeah, the thing about who do you blame, the migrants or the government? Like it's kind of like who do you blame, the prostitute or the men paying for
Yeah,
the
yeah. No, I
prostitute,
know.
right?
It's like
So
both.
it's a split decision. But
Yeah.
in this instance, the prostitute is the government,
Hmm.
and the migrants are the Johns. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
they
I
are
like
coming
that.
to take what they get, and that's so. In my thing, I never blame the prostitute. In this one, I blame the prostitute.
Yeah.
And I also blame the Johns. Yeah, I also blame the customers because, like I say, they migrate to money, and I see it with my own eyes. If England gave double the money tomorrow, they'd be back to England. And that's because it's only across 45 minutes on the boat or whatever, on the
And they
plane.
are they are like Johns, right? They're
Yeah,
treating, I mean, they don't have any respect for Ireland. They don't give a shit
no,
about Ireland. Like
couldn't.
they could not care less about Ireland as
No,
a culture, as a society. It's just a place. It's a place they're sleeping tonight.
yeah,
You know, it's like the
Yeah,
prostitute
but
that
I
they're
mean,
with right
but
now. They don't care.
just
They'll go to
just to be
somewhere else.
annoying, just to be annoying. The same could be said of you or I if we went to Ireland. Sure, we like. Well, no,
I
hold
know, but
on.
I'm not.
No, but allow me.
It's a little
We're from
different when you're a
America, so
tourist, I
our
think.
our 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 favorite place. It's not that we wouldn't give a shit about Ireland, but there would be a level of indifference to certain things from our perspective.
I don't
You know
think
what I
so.
mean?
yeah. Like when you go to a restaurant, you leave and you leave a tip on the table.
Yeah,
You're
yeah, yeah,
contributing. You're contributing to the fact you were there. The first is someone who walks in, takes a breadstick off the table, and walks back out.
yeah. Okay,
That's
that's fair.
that's the difference between tourists, which we can accommodate,
Yeah,
and
people
yeah,
encourage tourism.
Or
hundred
you
percent,
is Ireland what you would call a tourist? Is
it
tourism a
is.
big?
There's
Okay.
a lot of Ireland not touched by
Mhm.
migrants. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's still a lot of nice places to go, and I drove to Cork there or Wexford last week, and in the middle of Wexford, you're driving off the motorway it's fucking beautiful. It's like old Ireland. I've been there loads of times, but just this day specifically was sunny, and it was just really nice. That it was real old Ireland, like what you see in the old movies or even old drawings on the wall. It's still there, you know what I mean? And still lovely places to go. It's just you would stay away from certain places, like the city centre in Dublin.
Yeah.
Don't go.
Would
That's
not
just
go there.
infested. And no matter where they are in Dublin, the migrants they'll migrate
Yeah,
to the
see
city centre
that.
every day. They'll migrate in there, and that's where they do their business. They piss all over the place as well. There's just no
I mean,
concept of go to the toilet.
here's the thing too, and again, not to belabor this point, but if you live in a place, say you live in a town like Smithville, whatever,
Yeah.
and you have like 5,000 fellow residents or whatever, and there's a horrible rainstorm and a flood, and the flood like goes right through town, takes out all kinds of buildings, like total calamity. It's people killed. It takes all this work. Everyone gets together, they're working together, they build it back up, everybody's on the same page, right?
Mm.
Now contrast that with a human created disaster, which is what we're talking about, where you've
Yeah.
got a negligent,
Tidal wave of people.
nefarious, evil and or stupid leadership that creates a situation that brings damage and chaos and calamity uh, to this town. Do you know what I'm saying? And it does, so
Yeah.
people aren't like, oh man, I feel like I just want to chip in and help it. Everyone just kind of retreats. It's the flood is a bigger disaster, but the people are able to rise and overcome it. But with something like this, where there's no voting, did you guys get together and vote and say, please send us like 60,000
No,
additional? No one
no
voted for
chance.
it. So it's being inflicted upon you by other people, and there's no accountability, and you guys are paying the price, which is why you're also, when I keep trying to say, like, but it's the government doing it. But the migrant's the one right in front of your face that's
Mm.
pissing on the front of your house. So of course you're going to be upset with
Yeah.
that person. I
Yeah.
get it
And
100%.
even after the due process of being processed, and the 60,000 have went, fuck you. I'm
Yeah.
staying anyway, you know, and that's not even chasing money, because they're not getting money, not because they're being refused. So it's because they're avoiding whatever they probably tried England and everywhere else already, you know, and then they can stay as long as, so they go into the IPAS center while they're being processed. So the people in the IPAS center, they might be bad people, might be good people, but while they're in the process of being processed for the visa,
Hmm.
they stay in the IPAS. They're behaving themselves to an extent. It's the ones that are being refused, the 60,000 that are out there in the tents and living in parks and children's
Why don't we get
parks and
free
all.
shit?
Yeah, they worry me because they're not getting any more dole. They're off the grid now. They should have went home. They've been told you're being deported. They haven't turned up to be deported. 60,000. So they're just living off the grid now.
They're
No,
getting money, they're getting food, they're getting something from somewhere.
somewhere. And usually the NGOs are throwing them free stuff. But there's other ways of getting money, robbing, fucking, breaking into houses.
Have have they in as a group, have they ventured into local politics? Like, are any of them like trying to run for
The Indians,
office?
yeah, Indians come over. They gather couple of thousand in the one area, maybe a few hundred, 600. It'd be enough to tip you into winning a local election in Ireland. Even 40,
Yeah.
same anywhere, but it's such a small that if you can get say 2,000 Indians into an area of 20,000 people, and you can get even half of them Indians to vote, the chances are there's going to be more Indians voting than Irish people, even though they're outnumbered 5-1, because we don't vote a lot in this country. This whole politics thing that was, I don't know. I think since Donald Trump became president, the world's been educated on politics, and everyone has a say, left, right, and that's the same in Ireland. No one, there was never left or right in Ireland. It was usually just United Ireland,
Yeah,
or
right?
yeah, and we all they tried to charge us for water in the taps, and we're like, no, hold on, we're pissing rain here for fucking 9 months of the year, and you want us to pay? No, fuck off. So the whole country, regardless of beliefs, stood up and said no, and everyone went out, and so they stopped it. So that's the way Ireland was. We were a unit, and now it's just split in the middle, but
It's
everyone's
horrible.
educated on politics, and that's just the way it is.
I
Yeah.
mean,
And again, the transgender thing, and like they found in America, didn't they? Some study with Tylenol and pregnant women taking Tylenol resulted in a lot of kids being born with autism. So if you
oh,
can
I didn't know that.
pin down, well, if you can pin down autism and what's causing such a large, like we know Elon Musk is autistic, so obviously it's gone. What's
Hmm.
he, 50 years more?
50 years
But
old.
but
Yeah.
but the amount of it now, it's looking like it's down to a
Yeah,
certain
but
thing that women take during pregnancy. And funnily enough, my niece has an autistic son, and she took Nordafen Plus for a toothache while she was pregnant. So we're wondering now, is that going to be? There's just so many of them now, you know.
but to what you're saying, I think that the autism thing is more a broadening of what is considered autism. So
Well,
the person that used to be quirky and tell the weird, awful joke in the middle of the party was probably Asperger's, which is considered autism, but it's
no, true.
highly functional.
But it's becoming a case where the quirky one in the class now is the normal one.
Is the
It's like
norm.
you're the only one without a fucking ADHD, autism, whatever. Something's in the fucking water. That's what I think, because
I
these
agree.
people didn't exist. And as well, they correlated. There was a high correlation between autism and trans kids who believe they're trans. That's another study. So would you put that study beside the other one with the Tylenol? Then maybe you have an answer here. Do you know? So it starts with Tylenol and it ends with a girl thinking it's a boy or a boy thinking it's a girl because they're autistic.
But I think some of that is also social contagion. Like it's kind of cool for kids now to be just off the rails
Oh,
strange.
it's celebrated.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
So
call
say you're autistic. I don't think that autistic kids are naturally drawn to transgender, all this stuff. I think that they are perceptive in a lot of ways.
yeah. I've
Um,
observed
and
actually.
and that it just happens to be the thing that is most accepted amongst their own little microcosm. Just because I get where you're coming from, but I don't think it makes sense that that would be the cause of transgenderism. I think it has to
No.
be more with external elements coming in, and bear in
Well,
mind, I'm a psych nurse, so I see this
well,
in my face all the time.
I'll just give you an example of my observation with a
Sure.
relative, right? Young child. He likes the feel of certain materials. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happened one day he felt the skirt. Now the skirt had the material. He's like rubbing it on his face, and then, of course, putting it on was going to be the next step, right?
yeah, yeah,
And from that point, it was up to the mother whether she was going to go. She let him put the dress on. Yeah, that's fine. That's
yeah.
okay. He
It's a
wanted to
kid.
put it on. Now it's about, is she going to take that click onto TikTok? My son's trans, and that's what's happening. And then, it's the autism. Autism makes them want to touch. They've sensory issues, like they like
Yeah,
touch and feel.
tactile thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not necessarily like I want to look like you. I just like
yeah,
this feel.
but to counter that, and I'm not trying to be argumentative with
No,
you.
you're all right. I don't know.
To,
I'm not a doctor.
to
Like,
counter that, as a man, if the kid liked the soft cloth, I would be more prone to get him a swathe of it that he can keep in his pocket
yeah, you would. Yeah,
when he, you know what I mean? So there is a look at me fashion, but is it the kid or is it the mom?
it's the mom. That's what I'm trying to say. It's
That's
the
what he's
liberal
saying.
mothers that are saying, "Oh, I'm going to put this picture up," and then it takes off. Jesus, kid, you got 400 likes. Let's go out and buy you 4 dresses. We're
It's
going to put up.
there's incentives for it. That's why,
Yeah,
like, again, human beings, we're
It's
not that
dopamine kicks.
complicated. We're not that complicated. Like, we respond to incentives and we respond to negative, reinforcements.
Stimuli.
So if you're, what we've had is you have people, and I'm just going to use a random whatever situation. Say you have someone who is coming up on puberty, or they're at puberty, and they're homosexual. They feel that they're homosexual, and because they, well, for whatever reason, and then they get tied into the certain group, and it's like, oh well, we have this, we meet this person. It's like, oh well, maybe I'm not homosexual, maybe I'm transgender, or I'm this gender, or I'm two spirit, or I'm what. And there's this whole menu to choose from, right? The alphabet mafia has presented this whole menu, and you can be special. You can be your own thing. Oh, I'm a cardboard box sexual, or like whatever that's supposed to mean. And people feel special, and that's very people seek that out. And then people are like, oh, you're special. Oh, that's Jimmy over there. He's cardboard box sexual. Oh man, that's amazing. Can you explain it to me? And so it just gets rewarded. And like what Matt
yeah,
was saying, the internet is a huge leaping off point for this. I mean, how else do you explain? And when people say like, oh, transgenderism is a social contagion, and people are like, oh no, that's horrible. That okay. So why are there like high schools in the United States where like 35% of the girls identify as transgender? Like, how is
yeah.
that even biologically possible? I mean, it's like, of course, people go through stages when you're a little kid. You may do stupid stuff, or I want to dress in a dress, or I want to do this, or I want to play with dolls. Everyone, or a lot of people, go through that. It's part of what is being a child is about,
Yeah.
right? And
One of
it's
my nieces at 14 she was a lesbian, had a girlfriend. She's fucking 2 kids now. She's not a lesbian. That was
Yeah,
over and done with,
dude. In
Yeah,
our generation,
there's a inorganic quality to this particular occurrence in our history. And a lot of it, and I'm a victim of social media. I'm on the Instagrams, I'm on the Facebooks, all that stuff, but I'm ingrained in my structures, how I am. And with the I don't want grooming is probably too harsh of a term. It's more like I want somebody else that who can commiserate with my things. So I encourage something that may not have been organic with them. So like a kid is curious about his sexuality. He would have normally just been gay, which is, well, I think we all agree. I have no horse in that race. I have plenty of gay friends. They're great. Um, but you got this one person that likes to wear dresses, and then the person goes on to a website where that is the topic. And again, I don't want to say groom because that just doesn't feel like the right term, but they encourage this, oh yeah, I think you'd look lovely in lavender. And suddenly we've got
the grooming thing came in, and we've talked about this before, but it's from I don't give a crap if someone wants to be transgender, an adult. I don't care. More power to them, whatever.
kids is where
It's the kid thing, man. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
why it's so hard for people to understand that. You know what will fuck up a kid real quick is if you're a 6-year-old and you're like, say you're a little boy and you're like, man, what's it like to be a girl? And then everyone starts saying that you're a girl and that you're transgender, and you're like, wait, I can change I can remove my penis? Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Jimmy, you gotta take some. And now I'm 6-year-old Jimmy. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What planet was I born on?
Yeah. And
Like being male is a choice. Like someone assigned this to me. Like what? I don't want to be male. I want to be like it. I mean, that is child abuse. I mean, you want
it's
to
all
talk
good.
about that is mental abuse of a child to put those ideas in their head. That is
Yeah.
madness.
Isn't it mad that if the child came in and said, I want to be Superman, I identify as Superman,
Yeah,
and I'm
go
about
jump
to go
off
up,
this.
I'm about to, I'm going to, and the mom be like, no, you're not. That's fucking
Yeah,
insane.
yeah,
You're
go
not
jump off the
Superman.
building.
Yeah, you can't just decide to be Superman, but they won't say that about sexuality, like
And it
sickening.
messes with a kid. But look, I mean, to be clear, if you're 20 years old and you want to be I have no horse in that race. Just don't act and don't talk to my kids and try to normalize this for
Yeah.
children, because that's insane. That's
No, as long as
insane.
they're adults, like anything, you do what you want,
Do
as
what
long as
you
it's not
want.
hurting anybody else. But kids, that's the whole point of being 18 to be an adult or whatever. You're a
and they're
child.
not being
So,
protected like they were 20 years ago.
yeah, like
Yeah.
we said earlier, the babysitters aren't in charge anymore in your country, so you're
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah.
You got the parents back. We should leave it there anyway. I'll come back another time.
Yeah, man. Seriously, I absolutely want to have more conversations
Yeah,
with you guys.
Yeah, this is a great. I'm really glad it was a year in the making, but I'm really glad we got this going.
that's
Yeah.
our time difference. So no.
Yeah, but yeah, if you could move over here, that'd be really helpful.
Yeah. It looks dark there. It's after getting dark now in the last 2 hours, and it's
Yeah.
very stormy today as well. Like,
I'm not used to doing this when the sun's out, so
Yeah, it's very
yeah,
weird for us.
but my room's gotten dark. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
yeah.
fucking balance.
Yeah,
um,
I like saw sunlight through the windows. I could see that poster over there,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Now it's
it's
Don't
gone.
work, crap.
the dark visage in
um,
the back.
but yeah, it
All
was
right,
great.
buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk again. Yeah,
Have a
thanks a
great
million for
Great
rest of
having
the
meeting
me.
you.
evening.
And
Yeah, you too.
were you able to record on your side or?
No.
Okay, so we'll get it onto the Google Drive and we'll send you a link to throw it in.
Yeah, we'll work our magic
I'll put it
over
on.
here then.
Yeah.
All right,
All
buddy.
right. Take
Great
care,
meeting you, man.
everybody.
Thanks a
Have a
million,
good day.
right? See you, Michael. See you, Zeus.
See you,
Right?
Matt.